Coming up on Cardinals Insider, we delve into the greatness of Albert Pujols during Part 6 of the last inning. And Ryan Howard sits down to discuss his respect for Albert Pujols.
He had an effect on what was going to happen in the game.
Then later,
I just feel like it's my professional home.
Skip Schumaker's enjoying being back in St. Louis. Those stories and more ahead on Cardinals Insider. Welcome to Cardinals Insider. I'm Ozzie Smith. And as we head into the final weeks of the season, an era of Cardinal baseball is ending. We're examining different parts of that era each week in a segment we call The Last Inning. This week's installment focuses on the greatness of Albert Pujols.
In the air, left field, and Pujols has given St. Louis the lead. This ball is gone. Two-run home run here.
The Cardinals are world champions for 2007.
And the Cardinals have won the pennant.
He's knocked out the alley of Big Macland.
"11 years of memories has turned into 12.
A one-strike pitch. A swing.
And at 42, how is it possible you're as good as ever?
Gunner for Pujols. 6.
Doing things people have to see to believe.
Unbelievable.
From the first moment
Welcome to St. Louis, Albert Pujols.
to the final moments,
Welcome back, Albert.
you have always been different. Few are Hall of Famers. Even fewer define the game. Your glove is golden. Your bat is silver. You are everyone's favorite player. And how could you not be? You've come through in every scenario. In the game's great cathedrals, in homecomings, in October, All-Star, MVP, World Champion. Thank you for coming home. Thank you for showing what it means to be a Cardinal.
Pujols is respected across the game by fans, executives, and his peers. St. Louis and Ryan Howard was an MVP caliber first baseman with the Philadelphia Phillies for over a decade, so he can certainly appreciate Albert's career.
He was hitting for average, he was hitting for power, he was, like I said, getting them sneaky stolen bases. Defense was Gold Glove, top-notch defense. When he came up, people in the stands didn't want to miss him. Secondly, he had an effect on what was going to happen in the game.
In the air, left field, and Pujols has given St. Louis the lead.
You looked around the National League at first base, it was so deep because you had Albert, you had myself, you had Derek Lee, you had Lance Berkman, Prince come in, you had Adrian Gonzalez. It was so deep there at first, but Albert was the epitome of first base. How he would go in and go change games with on offense or defense.
Pujols out to left center field. At the track, it's at the wall, and it's number 40. He does it in style, and it's number 200 in his career.
He was so consistent and so deadly in terms of what he was doing out there on the field. The game has kind of changed a little bit to where teams are more about trying to get guys a little bit more rest here and there. We were coming up like, hey, we're out there every single day. That's no, diss or anything to where the game is today. It's just, the game makes pivots, but you think about with what he was able to do on a day in, day out basis.
That one's blasted to the left, and you can kiss it goodbye.
It's awesome. It's awesome to be able to be a part of something like this for somebody who's done so much, not only for the game, but I know he's just as valuable a person off the field with what he's done with his charitable endeavors as well.
Number 5, Albert
just a great person, man, and I'm happy to be a part of it.
After the break,
I just can't believe that I'm back here as a coach now.
hear from Skip Schumaker on his return to St. Louis. Then later in the show,
Swing and a miss. McGreevy just rears back and fires it by.
catch up with 2021 first rounder Mike McGreevy. That's all ahead, so don't go anywhere. Skip Schumaker played 8 of his 11 seasons for the Cardinals, and since then he's gotten into coaching. And 2022 brought him back to St. Louis as Oli Marmol's bench coach. It's a reunion Schumaker is enjoying.
I just feel like it's my professional home, and I've been just very lucky.
Schumaker with a high fly ball at the wall, and it's gone. Skip Schumaker.
Hard hit to second. Nice play by Schumaker. And the Cardinals turn to double play. Wow, that was a nice play.
Throw by Schumaker. Oh, they got him. They deked him at third.
Here comes the runner, and he is safe at the plate. Schumaker scores.
You know, you don't get to choose who you're drafted by. And I was very lucky to get drafted in an organization that developed not only really good players, but developed me as a person. And I grew up as an adult really in this organization and was around really good people. I just can't believe that I'm back here as a coach now, around a lot of the same people and around guys like Adam Wainwright, who was my best friend as a player. Getting to coach and be around his last couple years is pretty special for me. How you doing, buddy? Trying to show off? Usually. That's what I usually do during BP, is try to show off. You know what I mean? Kind of my goal. Last one. You like strikes? Ollie, talk to Willie.
He's a bench coach over in San Diego too.
Yeah, I was first base. I retired in 16. First base coach, bench coach, and then I got a call here, and it's worked out great. My wife and I kick ourselves for not moving to St. Louis when I was a player. But as soon as I moved there, I was going to get traded. I mean, that was just going to happen, or released, or I was going to be terrible, and they had to designate me, whatever it was. So that's just kind of what I always had in the back of my mind. I was sent up and down 5 or 6 times in my career, so I never had that like stability of like, oh, this is where I'm going to be for 5 or 6 years. Looking back on it, I was here for a long time, and I would have loved to have raised my family and kids in the St. Louis area.
The Cardinals are world champs in 2011.
2011 was the best year of my life professionally. I mean, I'll never forget it. I got to enjoy a World Series run that I don't think anybody thought we would be even in the playoffs at the time, and to be a wild card, last game of the season. I mean, you guys know the story, but to come out as a visiting player, as a visiting coach, during the reunion and get that kind of welcome as a 25th guy on the roster, you know, that's just who the fans are.
And was a vital member of the 2011 team. Please welcome Skip Schumaker.
My son was, he was around a little bit, him and Jackson Holiday and Ethan Holiday, and, you know, we would bring the kids around, and it just made it loose and fresh in the clubhouse, and everybody loves kids coming in when after a win, and you're hugging them, and they get to enjoy it. This thing is not easy on the family, so when you get to have that experience with your kids, it's priceless. I remember running around the outfield, waving, you know, to the crowd, and I have one picture I have in my office is myself and Brody waving to the crowd. My son, same exact footstep, same exact way of looking at the crowd, the same way. It's pretty incredible. And now you look up, my son's in 8th grade. But, you know, all those memories, even if they weren't that way, this is such a special moment for us as a family, and something we'll never forget.
In just a bit,
it's been an incredible journey so far.
We head to the farm to visit with pitching prospect Michael McGreevy. Adam Adam Wainwright's Big League Impact hosts yearly fantasy football leagues which pair fans and big leaguers in competition. But this year, participants got a lot more than a fantasy draft. They came to Busch Stadium for a one-of-a-kind experience.
So today, Big League Impact is hosting over 100 of our fantasy football participants. Adam Wainwright and several of his teammates had them down on the field earlier today, taking pictures, catching fly balls, engaging with the players and some of the coaches. And then we go into the football season and they compete with these guys at fantasy football, talking trash and seeing who's the best at the game. Big League Impact really strives to make the donors feel like they're part of a really quality experience, getting to engage the players, getting to talk to them, ask them questions. Today is about really the donor getting the full experience of being able to meet the guys that they're going to be competing with all throughout the season. What's great about our platform at Big League Impact is that the players all get to choose charities that they are personally passionate about. So our platform specifically engages the most vulnerable among us through partnerships with charities that provide food and water and basic needs. But then if a player wants to donate to a charity that is near and dear to his heart, he can choose a charity, and Big League Impact will make sure that it gets to the folks most in need.
Last year's first-round pick Michael McGreevy was promoted from High A Peoria to Double A Springfield earlier this season. Let's check in on the 22-year-old in this week's Farm Report.
Swing and a miss. McGreevy just rears back and fires it by.
It's been an incredible journey so far. I mean, starting in spring training down in Florida, getting to know most of the guys in the entire organization, going to Peoria with High A, then getting the promotion up here. I mean, it's just been super cool, and I wouldn't have dreamt of a better experience, and I've learned so much.
Swing and a miss here. McGreevy gets him on the breaking ball.
It's definitely a long season, that's for sure. I'm already at like as many innings as I threw in college, and like normally in college you would have like a week to kind of go over an outing, kind of like, okay, think about it for a little while, but if you have a good, bad, average outing here, like the biggest thing I've learned is like you have to just flush it. Like take it for what it's worth, learn from the lessons, but then you have to get rid of it. Like I'm gonna be thinking about the outing from last night, maybe for like 20 more minutes, like just going like about like what I learned and like the mistakes I made, what I can do better. But after those 20 minutes, I'm gonna have to just flush it because I have another outing on Sunday and it comes up extremely quick.
Swing and a miss, strike three, the curve from McGreevy.
Izzy has been challenging me since day one of spring training. He was watching my bullpens in spring training. You throw a fastball down the middle, it's not, hey, good job, you threw a strike, it's, hey, be better. Like, you're better than that. The belief in me is great. I love that, like, the positivity, but it's also like the extra challenges that he brings as well. And every time he visits, whether he watches me pitch, it's always fun to kind of go back with him about the outings, what he would like to see more from me, what I do good, what I don't do good, and just the constant like challenge from him is always great.
Still to come?
This group is a group very close to my heart.
Polo Asensio invites some special guests to the ballpark. Find out more after the break.
No place takes you in depth with the Cardinals like our YouTube channel. Get to know the players, come along for one-of-a-kind experiences, and hang out with personalities from across Cardinals Nation. Plus, we capture the days and moments that make Cardinals baseball so special. Just search St. Louis Cardinals on YouTube and be sure to subscribe so you never miss a video. St. Louis Cardinals Baseball.
Broadcaster Polo Asensio is the Spanish voice of the Cardinals, and earlier this summer, he gave back to some local kids who attended the game as part of his ticket program.
The reason I thought about this, since I worked in LA, 2008, 2009, I always saw players bring groups of kids and families to the stadium. Then, when I got to St. Louis, I see the same thing. And I always thought it was really, really cool to see that, the reaction of the parents, of the kids, the players, anybody involved. This group is a group very close to my heart because that's the first school that I visit in St. Louis as a broadcaster. Santa Cecilia. It's a school that hosts mostly Latino kids. There's a couple of teachers, a couple of parents, and this is the second time they come to Busch, but the first time that I invite them, or we invite them as a group. I love the association the Cardinals have with them, and that's what we have here today. Since I was a little kid, my mom called me Pollito, which is little chicken. And I was about to say, hey, los pollitos de polo. But then I'm like, no, we're not little chickens, we're more like little birds. You know, so pajaritos means little bird. I'm like, hey, little bird, red bird, polo, los pajaritos de polo. That worked out, I think, too perfect. If you see this shirt, it has a face, like the outline of my face with headphones. That was made by my son a couple of years ago, and I thought it was perfect. Like, I have my mom with the name, my son, my family with the logo, the red, the microphone, and at the end, I think it was a perfect combination of all that. To see people happy, to give something to somebody that I don't know, to get something that I wish I had, and now I don't need to wish to give them something. I can do that, and that, to me, that's what making an impact means.
When we return, I'm answering one of your questions. It's Ask Ozzie, and it's up next.
There's something truly special about St. Louis Cardinals baseball, and we have the perfect companion to all the action. The 2022 Cardinals Media Guide is a deep dive into the team that includes bios, stats, and background info on everyone from stars to prospects. It's the perfect keepsake as we celebrate the storied careers of 3 Cardinals legends. Get yours today at cardinals.com/media guide or stop by the Cardinals team store inside Busch Stadium.
It's time for this week's Ask Ozzie. Don in St. Louis asked, when you were traded for Gary Templeton, did you ever talk to him about the trade? Well, Don, no, we never talked about the trade. We played a lot of golf since then, but I think at the time we were both young players who were looking to make ourselves better and help our teams become better. And so we didn't really worry about the trade as much as we worried about going out and doing our job every day. It was comfortable right away. I didn't have any trepidations. You want to play well, of course, and anytime you get traded for a player the caliber of Gary Templeton, there's always the pressure to perform, so I probably felt that much, that anxiety more than anything, coming and being able to perform, not necessarily at the level that he did, because he's one of those true 5'2" players, probably one of the greatest players to ever don a pair of spikes. So, coming here, Whitey made it very simple and very easy. Just told me to do my job, pick the ball up and throw it across the diamond, which I did, and it made it very easy transition because the fans were so much appreciative of the way I played. Thanks for the question, Don. If you want to submit a question, head on over to cardinals.com/insider and click the Ask Ozzie tab. But for now, stay with us. There's more Cardinals Insider after the break. Cardinals Insider is a team effort, and that includes you. We'd love to hear from you. To get in touch with the show, head on over to cardinals.com/insider and click on the Contact Us tab. And while you're there, you can rewatch old episodes and check out our podcast too. It's all at cardinals.com/insider. As the 2020 season ended, the sport was still adjusting to a world following the COVID-19 outbreak. And for the first time, Yadier Molina and Adam Wainwright were free agents simultaneously. That's where we pick up our next installment of the Chase for 325, presented by Cardinals Magazine.
When you think back to the post-pandemic season of 2020, both guys enter free agency, and clearly it was something that I think, like, if we could redo it again, we probably, all three of us would probably have done something sooner. But I think individuals need to explore their own free agency, what that means, what it looks like. But it was definitely uncomfortable for the Cardinals because we didn't want to see them put on a different uniform.
In this day and age, you change teams so much, so it's hard to have a combination that's together this long. And I think that's what makes it special too, the fact that they've been able to be together for as long as they have. Being teammates that long is a rarity.
You have these two kind of franchise icons at this point who pretty much came up together. You know, Yadi beat Waino up here a little bit. They came up together and they've had so much success together, and to hear them talk about working together out on the mound, it's really cool, and I think it's a very special record.
There's so many things that they have done together that get them to that relationship they have now. I bet you anything the biggest hug happened when Yadi showed up in the clubhouse, because Waino was one of the open ones that said, hey, we miss him and we want him here. Even if it's hurt, we want him here around the clubhouse, and we want to experience the whole thing with him.
I think like whenever you think about sort of like storybook endings and the fact that you have two guys that have meant so much to each other, they've made each other better, and then to stay with one set of uniforms on, meaning the birds on the bat for the St. Louis Cardinals, I think is just something that's remarkable. And I think when we all look back and reflect on really what their importance was to the city of St. Louis, to the St. Louis Cardinals, we're all going to realize how lucky we were to be a part of it.
That's all for this episode. Join us again next week. And as always, you can watch new episodes on YouTube or at cardinals.com/insider. And for everyone involved with the show, I'm Ozzie Smith, and we'll see you next time.